All right guys, Ranger update number 3, and I thought I would take you somewhere kind of different than the last 2 videos, and this is a place that's not far from my house, about 30 minutes, and it's super unique. This is Pismo Beach, California, and it's one of the last places that you can drive onto the beach on the California coast. So I know on the East Coast, driving on the beach is a little bit more common, but on the West Coast, it's pretty uncommon, and it's such a fun experience just to be able to come down here, drive right along the ocean, right up to the water if you want. And you can camp out here, you can do bonfires, you can just hang out for the day, but just a really cool little spot. It's only $5 for a day pass down here. So I think we'll film our Ranger build update number 3 right here. Oh man, it's windy. All right, let's do update number 3 on the Ranger. Guess what? I got a microphone, so we're gonna have good audio, except for the fact that it's super windy out here. But yeah, let's talk build plans, Copart process, recent modifications, and then what I'm gonna do with the flatbed and the camper, because I can't decide yet exactly on flatbed and camper total design. So yeah, let's get into it. So I fixed the 4-wheel drive. First video, I noticed that the 4-wheel drive wasn't working when I got it home, and I ended up fixing it. I want to show you what I did because it was very simple. Is right here in the fuse box in the engine bay. And the problem was this relay was swapped with this relay. This is the fuel pump relay. These are both responsible for 4-wheel drive transfer case actuation. I have no idea why these two were swapped, other than I'm assuming at some point during the previous ownership, maybe the truck wouldn't start and they thought it was the fuel pump, and someone went in here and swapped these two and left it. I don't know why, but they're different types of relays. So this relay switches differently than this one. I think I'll have to put it on the screen. But what I noticed was all these relays, when I was looking online, all had these white tabs all the way in a row. And when I looked at mine, I noticed, oh, wait a second, one of these white tab ones is over here and this one is over there. And that's what clued me into thinking, oh, maybe these are swapped. I swapped them, and immediately the transfer case started working and I had 4-wheel drive. And since that, super simple fix, it has shifted into 4-wheel drive perfectly, no problem, very quickly, very smoothly. And I feel like that's one of the best fix types you could ask for when you're working on something that could potentially be expensive. Something like a simple relay was really satisfying. Another thing I did recently is add a forward-facing camera. So since I already have that Linkswell screen in there, one of the main advantages of that is you get a lot more options for adding cameras, and they actually have a multi-camera setup that I might do at some point. But for now, I just added a forward-facing camera that's mounted in the grill. Really like how this turned out, and I'll show you how it looks on the screen and also show you where I mounted it. So let me show you how it works in the car. Ooh. Okay, so to turn on the front camera, let me shut this door so we don't get the door chime. I still need to change in Forescan, but I just put one of their camera icons on the first page here, and then you have front view. So it's actually like a 1080p camera. Kind of hard to tell with the glare on the screen, this particular view, but I'm really happy with this camera's quality. It's a little too distorted though. You can tell just how distorted the horizon line is there. That's actually a really good way to see, because we're right here at the horizon line. It's too much of a 180 view camera, so I'm probably gonna swap the camera out. The wiring can stay the same. I think I'll try and find one from the same company, but now I can do rear view when I'm parked, and I can do front view, which I think is super nice off-road, especially cresting hilltops. Like if you're cresting over a trail, you don't know what's on the other side and you're pointed up at all, you just can't see what's in front of you. And then even just in these modern trucks, looking up from here, like what, you can see that right there. That's as close as you can see, which is that like tread line right there. we'll walk outside and see how far in front that is from the truck. But you get the idea is you can't see what's in front of you for at least, I don't know, 5, 6, 7 feet. And with the front camera, I can see in front of me within like 1 foot. Now, right now it's mounted in the grill, and it's like perfectly flush, and you're seeing a bunch of this lower grill part. So ideally it would be forward a little bit. And I think when I do an aftermarket bumper, I probably will have to push this forward a little bit, and I'll just probably at that point 3D print like a little mount so that it sticks out a little farther, kind of like it does on my brother's Raptor grill. But yeah, let's go see how far forward that is right there, because right here we can see immediately in front of the truck. Yeah, so from the driver's seat all the way to basically right here is how far you can't see anything. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 paces. So 10 feet, 15 feet. And then I think with this, we should be able to see right here. Let's see. Oh yeah, no problem. So we can actually see quite a bit in front of that mark right there. So I think we can see actually maybe right there. Oh yeah, we can see that. That's about perfect example of how close we can see with the camera. So that helps a lot in my personal experience on trails I've never driven on. Times when you're on a trail, get out of the truck, get back in the truck and start going, and you're like, oh crap, I forgot there's a ledge right there. That's happened to me multiple times. Or a rock or something after you had lunch. You totally forget about something right in front of your wheels. Super helpful, cresting, going down, and for those situations. So probably the hardest part of the whole camera install is feeding the video wire through the firewall. But if you go to the driver's side of the truck, brake booster reservoir, or brake fluid reservoir, brake booster, and behind it on the firewall right back there is a grommet where all the main wires pass through, as well as the hood release latch wire. That's what I'm passing through right now, and I'm actually using a carbon fiber arrow from my bow. If you look up here, you can see it. I just pushed it through that grommet all the way through to the other side. And when it came out the top, I used electrical tape to wrap around the video RCA connector. And then I put a bunch of soap on this. So I'm gonna just pull this through, hopefully, and that should get us through the firewall. Yes, it didn't come off. There we go. Front camera, nicely installed, ready to go. Super stoked on that. Let's move on to the next mod. Okay, the next little mod is actually just here in the interior, and I added a wireless charging mat for my iPhone. So iPhone 15, I just recently got it. That's why the audio is better now too, because it has a USB-C connection on the back, and the USB-C to USB-C cable to the Rode Mini Go 2 works perfectly, and that's what I'm using right now. And to charge it, so to charge it in the truck, these are all USB ports, which you can get, you know, a USB to USB-C like dongle that goes in, but I just wanted something super simple, no wires, no cables, and so I added a little lid organizer in here and a wireless charging mat, and I have my AirPods here so you can see. Bing, it works. Those guys are charging up. So this is actually really nice. It's a little bit out of the way, like to grab your phone while you're driving, but It's nice. You could put your phone in there, especially because I have the screen with CarPlay. I can see phone calls and text messages coming in. I don't have to have the phone sitting right here. It's not the perfect solution, but it is one. And I'll just show you kind of what I have, and I'll put the links and pictures of the parts I use for this. So this is a little organizer lid from Amazon. Got a Leatherman tool in there, of course. My little deflators, those are super cool. This is the charging mat, and it's got its own cord. I just cut a hole into the lid organizer itself, and then I moved a USB port into the bottom of this because that is not normally there. I got a USB flush mount, basically. There we go. Okay, I wanted to pull the whole flush mount out, but you can see basically what I did was, come on, focus. I moved a USB port from the back of the center console into the interior of the center console, just using a drill and a knife and that flush mount, and then I'm plugging the mat into that. So now I've got a USB port in here that's powering my wireless charging mat. That plugs in. I can still fit my DSLR inside there, which is nice. And then I have wireless charging right here, which works really well if it's aligned. And I'll show you on the back here. To get that USB port into the center console, I'm utilizing one of the ones in the back here. So because I replaced the center console, I was privy to this info, but this just comes out with some clips, and on the back side are the USB connections. So let me zoom in here. Basically just unplugged one of these guys, just unclip it, pull it out, and then I redirected it into the interior of the center console. And I know you got an empty one here, so it's not the perfect fix. If there was, here's the original one plugged into the new one. If there's a splitter that had this cool connection, I would put it back in there, but I haven't been able to find that yet, and it doesn't really bother me that much because it's two little USB ports in the back that I don't think I'll end up using much. They have a AC port back here, which I'll probably use more for the back, but there we go. That's back. So that's where you get that USB port if you're wanting to move it into the center console. If you want to do that project yourself, that's where I grab the USB from. All right, let's go over total cost to date. So to get it to the spot it's in now, I replaced some parts in the interior that were messed up from the previous owner. So the center console, I believe that was about $250 from eBay. And that was the best deal because it replaced the center console trim and also the armrest lid. And so that's all nice and new. That was a used piece, but shipped to my house, I think it was like 250 bucks. Then I did the Ford Performance grill. I got that on sale. That's optional. You didn't have to change, the grill wasn't broken, but that was 220 bucks, I believe, on sale. Then I did the seatbelt buckle and the emergency brake handle because both of those were chewed up by the dog. That was $86 each from Ford. And then I fixed the four-wheel drive. The four-wheel drive ended up just being a relay switch. You already saw that. That was super nice. And then $66 for the lift kit, which is super cheap. Just a ½ inch of steel under the front shocks and gives it a 1-inch lift in the front. With the trimmer models, because they have those different struts, you have effectively 2 inches in the front and none in the back, and that gives you a tiny bit of rake, which is what I prefer. So if you're trying to copy this on a non-trimmer model, do a 1-inch leveling kit. What else? Fender flares, optional again, but I really like the way those look. Those are about $400 from EGR USA, but they seem to be constantly on sale for around $350. Those are the rugged style ones, and they have a smooth finish. I really like that. So add that to the cost. And then wheels and tires. I don't know if I should put that in there because that's also, well, actually the tires on the truck when I got it were bald. But wheels and tires, I feel like everybody's going to do that to any truck. So the cost of those are pretty much all the same across the board. For me, I work with Firestone, I work with Nomad, so those weren't at a cost to me. But the tires would be around $1,500 and the wheels would be around $1,200, $1,400 as well. The wheels, I have a discount code if you want to buy them from Nomad. I believe it's just under budget, saves you a little bit. And then Firestone, I don't have a discount code because that would get spread across the United States and everyone would be saving money on tires, but my favorite tires for sure. What else? See if I forgot anything. The rear frame didn't cost anything to fix. It's just a piece of scrap metal so far. Brake lights were all intact, so that saved me $900. If there's a broken brake light on the truck you get and you want to keep the truck bed and all that kind of stuff, those are like $900 a piece, so really try and find a truck that doesn't have a broken brake light. The front headlight I have not fixed yet. The crack is definitely letting moisture in during the rain and stuff, so it gets moisture inside, so I need to fix that. But we talked about that before. I want to get aftermarket ones probably. I did buy a headlight on eBay that has a clear lens and broken mounting tabs for $150, so you could add that to the list. I just couldn't get the lens off to replace it. So and then another optional thing is the Linkswell screen. Totally optional, but I think is just a huge upgrade. It's going to support a bunch of the other things I have planned for it, like the front camera, which I installed. That is around $1,400. So yeah, started out at $11,700 winning bid. Then I paid Copart fees and delivery, and that brought it up to, I think, $13,500. I paid cash for it. I can't remember exactly. It'll be on the screen. There was about $1,500, I think, yeah, $1,500 of Copart fees, and then $450 that was shipped to my house. That's pretty low shipping cost. It was only a couple hours from my house, so I could have gone and picked it up, but for the hassle, for timing and all that stuff, $450 made sense to me. And then I just did an oil change and coolant. That's just basic maintenance. I'm not going to put that in the cost because you're going to want to do that regardless. And then that's pretty much it. The other little gizmos like the wireless charging. Ooh, somebody doing donuts on the beach is illegal. Okay, it's getting super, super windy here. I think my cue was when that guy started windsurfing. Might be too windy. So let's finish the rest of the video in the car on the ride home. Somehow I totally forgot to mention the Copart process. So for me, I didn't realize this in the beginning, but it's a little different just because we actually bought it through a friend's Copart dealership. A friend of a friend has a used car dealership, and he has a Copart license. And I didn't really think about that aspect of it when I first got it, but there is a couple benefits to doing that, and he actually handled the registration portion of the process for me. So that wasn't what I thought was going to happen in the beginning. I thought we were just going to use it to basically select it and place the bids, but he ended up handling the registration process for me. So for me, it was a little different because he handled all that. But if you were to buy a car from Copart in California and wanted to get it registered, you need to, this is what I found out before they did it for me, is you need to get it back up to normal, like operating spec, like all the lights working and driving and all that kind of stuff. Go to the DMV, and then you make an appointment with the CHP. And depending on the year of your truck, a new truck like this, they told me that would take a more enhanced inspection from the CHP. You make an appointment, you get an appointment. It usually takes a couple weeks, she said, and then CHP takes it and they do a VIN inspection and kind of like just basically make sure it's working. My brother's truck, that F-350 out there, is also a rebuilt title, and for an older truck like that, no problems at all. He just took it to a CHP inspection where they basically check the VIN because he swapped the cab on that truck, and that was just like a visit where they just look at the numbers and stuff, and they're like, oh yeah, tail lights work, brake lights work, turn signals work, you're on your way. Insurance for me, not a problem either. State Farm insurance. I'm paying like $100 a month for this truck. 2021. I have good coverage, same as I have on all my other trucks, like comprehensive, and so no problem there either. Yeah, so the process with Copart has been pretty easy for me. I bought it online, got it dropped off via trailer. There was some fees, but not that bad. It was like $1,500 in fees, normal registration fees, all that kind of stuff. So you're not going to escape that buying a car used if you buy it in California. If you buy it from a dealership in California, you're going to pay fees at the dealership. So all those things are normal. The car's insured now, running good. I got it aligned. Everything's fine. So that's the Copart experience for me so far. I thought I would have a little bit more to share on that because I would have walked you through the process of doing the CHP inspection, but because it went through a dealership, they handled all that, and I'm not able to share that process with you because I didn't do it. But anyways, that's my experience, and yeah. So here's my question for you guys with the camper and flatbed build. I've been dead set on just duplicating what I have with a couple changes in the interior of the camper, general size and all that kind of stuff. But the last week I've been thinking how fun it might be to make a one-piece camper. So no flatbed camper separation, just a one-piece to get a little bit more interior room, to be able to just kind of change up the build, just have something new to do. I mean, I'm super interested in redoing what I have with, from the ground up, very similar, just because of the little changes I've wanted to do from the beginning that require like cutting the frame and stuff. So I'm still interested in doing that, and I still think I'll probably do that, but there's part of me now that really wants to do like a combined unibody camper that has like a little door in the back and is set up a little bit more like a two-person adventure vehicle, not something that like has to work for a daily driver and has to work for a family to be able to drive around town. I love those aspects of it, but since I'm in a different position now where I have a third vehicle, I don't have to make it meet those criteria, and that gives me a little bit more options of what I can do to like build it. So I could build it a little bit more, I don't know, like an expedition vehicle, which I think would just be really fun, like a little Arctic expedition vehicle. Probably only Arctic thing about it would be the fact that it was white, but I don't know. Should I do that? Should I do a one-piece camper and have the advantage of having more interior space? Or should I stick to two pieces? And then the second one is, should I stretch the frame? Should I stretch the frame by like 6 to 8 inches to even a foot? I don't want to stretch it quite a foot. I just want to, not the frame, but actually move the wheelbase, which is like a frame extension. They do this in Australia all the time. They do frame extensions where they move the rear axle back, cutting the frame underneath the cab and putting a new section in and then reinforcing it and all that kind of stuff. So it's quite the process. Pretty straightforward, but it's still quite a process. Got to make the brake lines longer, got to make a couple electrical things longer, got to make the drive shaft longer, and then you've got a longer wheelbase. So I kind of want to do that just because I think it'd be cool, and it'd also move my axle back a little bit and probably, I don't know, just be fun. So I don't know, should I stretch the frame and move the wheelbase back? If so, how far? 6, 8, or 12 inches? And should I do a two-piece or should I do a one-piece camper?